Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into episode 2 of Survivor. And let me tell you, if this episode had a theme, it would be one word: deception. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at that wild opening dilemma that really set the stage. Then, we're going to break it down tribe by tribe, Skal, Loss Hall, and Slanch, to see how all the strategy, the big mistakes, and, of course, the deception played out. And finally, we'll see where that leaves us. Who's really holding the power now? So the game kicks off right away with this challenge called the battlefield. And bam, they're hit with a secret choice that immediately puts everyone's loyalty and their ambition to the test. So here's the deal. The representatives from each tribe had a choice. Do you work together, get the fastest time, and win a reward for your entire tribe? Or do you secretly slow down, make sure you finish last, and snag a powerful advantage just for yourself? I mean, that is classic Survivor right there. So you might be wondering, how did this all play out? Well, let's jump over to our first tribe, Skal, because one player's move here just perfectly captures that snaky theme of the episode. Okay, so check this out. His tribe mate, David, just blazes through the maze, super fast. But Eli? He's playing a totally different game. He plays the long game, deliberately waits, and finishes last to secretly get those 5 morale points just for himself. A huge personal boost that, in theory, nobody else knows about. But, just taking the advantage, that was only half of it. The real snaky move, the genius part, was what he did next. He immediately cooked up this fake story, pointing the finger at another tribe, saying they were the ones who threw it. So it wasn't just about getting ahead. It was this incredible act of misdirection that took all the heat off him. Masterful, really. And here's the wild part about Skal. Even with all this secret deception going on, as a team, they're an absolute powerhouse. I mean, they didn't just win the immunity challenge, they crushed it. Their score was more than double the next tribe. So yeah, they were completely safe from tribal council. And this, right here, is where you see just how dominant Skal is strategically. They didn't waste a second. They pulled all their resources together with military precision. So Eli uses his new points to buy these morale transfer pendants. Then he and David use them to transfer all their morale over to Vova. And just like that, Vova has enough to buy the tribe's very first immunity idol. It was just flawless execution. But let's look under the hood for a second, because beneath all this success, you've got this super complex web of alliances forming. We're talking the Boys Alliance, the Russian Alliance, the Scar Alliance, you name it. And you've got key players like Eli and Vova planting themselves right in the middle of multiple groups. Super smart, right? It means they have options no matter what happens next. All right, let's switch gears and talk about Voss Hall. Now, their story is a little different. Theirs was a story pretty much defined by one single costly mistake that sent them into a total scramble. Oh man, it was just a devastating unforced error. So Yehuda was the guy responsible for submitting his group's score for the challenge, and he missed the deadline. By 2 seconds? Can you believe it? 2 seconds. And that one little mistake got their entire score disqualified and sent the whole tribe straight to tribal council. And trust me, he knew he messed up. You can see it in his confessional. He basically says, "Yep, I shot myself in the foot." His only hope at that point was that there was an even bigger target on the tribe, Matan, a player who had been completely inactive. So Yehuda's just praying they'll see Matan as the easy vote instead of him. But, this is also a story of resilience. After that huge blunder, the tribe actually came together. They all quickly agreed, okay, Matan's the easy vote, let's just do that. And out of that moment, a new little alliance pops up between Gabi, Yehuda, and Noam. And get this, they actually managed to turn this whole disaster around by pooling their resources and getting an immunity idol for Noam. Pretty impressive recovery. And that brings us to our final tribe, Slanche. Now these guys managed to win a reward, but don't let that fool you. That victory couldn't hide the fact that there were some serious cracks starting to show in their main alliance. So the leader of the tribe, Arik, comes up with this elaborate secret emoji code. The idea was for his alliance to communicate if they got split up in a swap. But his allies, they didn't see it as some brilliant strategic move. To them, it just came across as super controlling, a bit obsessive, and honestly, kind of paranoid. Yeah, that whole emoji thing, plus his generally aggressive way of playing, really started to plant some seeds of distrust. I mean, his own closest allies, Gal and Roai, started quietly plotting to vote him out right after they got rid of the outsider, Itai. And even Moria was getting ticked off because he just blew off her ideas about the code. And this next part just perfectly shows the difference between the tribes. It's almost comical. You have Skal over there executing these multi-step complex plans to get an idol. And then you have Moria on Slanch, and her biggest strategic battle of the day was a 24-hour standoff with a worm, trying to decide if she should eat it for a morale boost. The contrast is just, wow. So on the surface, the vote was simple. The tribe stuck together, they voted out a tie, mission accomplished. But the real story was what was happening just below that surface. A secret sub-alliance was already formed, just waiting for the perfect moment to turn on their own leader, Arik. Okay, so 2 tribal councils are down. There's been a ton of strategic maneuvering. Let's take a step back and look at the new game board. Where does everyone stand and who's really holding the power now? So we said goodbye to 2 more players. Matan from Vashal was honestly an easy vote for everyone since he wasn't really participating. And then Itai from Slench got the boot basically because he was left on the outside after his closest ally went home last time. A pretty straightforward numbers game. And this, right here, is what you should really take away from this explainer. The power dynamic of this whole game has shifted. Big time. Both Skal and Vashal now have immunity idols in their pockets. But Slanch, they've got nothing. And that leaves them in a really vulnerable spot moving forward. So you've got idols in play, you've got alliances already cracking at the seams. The game is totally set up for a whole new phase of betrayals and big power plays. And that leaves us with this one final burning quote from a player that just perfectly sets the stage for what's coming next.